So please join me in welcoming the amazing Patch Adams.
Thank you. You know, I know with my name is that attachment that laughter is the best medicine. But I want you to hear me. Friendship is the best medicine. Laughter is a great grease for friendship. But in my polling of everybody I've ever talked to, it looked like friends were the things that was the most important thing in their life. And that's why I wanted to be a doctor whose ideal patient was somebody who wanted a deep personal friendship with me for life. That was my fantasy patient, because then I knew I would get something good. Okay, I want to tell you about a hero, okay, and it's very interesting. I learned about this in a British medical journal, Lancet. It's their puffy magazine, but it's much more political than our magazines. And I read about a doctor in Georgia, Dr. Denmark. Anyone heard of her? Okay, well, yeah, another radical medical crazy person. Well, this is my current hero, and I'll tell you why. One, we had to hear about her from a British medical journal, even though she's an American physician. She died at the age of 114. Okay, so you want her trick. Okay, she died at the age of 114, became a pediatrician in 1922. Practiced for 70 years. She retired from her practice at 103. However, she didn't want to give up medicine, so she did a phone consultation till 110. Price of her visit? Hold your wallet, $10. Now, why this person isn't on the front page as the most magnificent human being in medicine in America in our history, I don't know. But talk about her, Dr. Denmark. Right, maybe that's the problem. Dr. New York, something. Okay, I actually call this talk Medicine for Fun, Not Funds, because I noticed the word fun was in the word funds. And I've been a fundraiser for 42 years and I'm still happy. So what I want to do is briefly talk about our work for the people who may not know about it. And then I want to tell you what you can do in your own community that sounds disgustingly easy, and then talk about healthcare delivery. I find it inexcusable that we do not take care of everybody equally in this country. So I don't know why our entire nation hasn't risen up. That is the most uncomfortable medical truth that I'm now experiencing, is that things are so bad, and almost no one, if you look at the 7+ billion people, are actually rising up. Okay, so I'm here to remind you that rise up. You can find out later what you're rising up for. You know, but, you know, get involved. I mean, this doctor wanted to do phone consultations at 110. God, I'd have paid her 20. Okay, so I entered medical school in 1967 as a political activist. I dream of a world where no one alive can remember what the word war means. That's my goal. They have to look it up in an old dictionary. And then they won't believe the definition that humans would do that. Okay, so I thought at the crux of that, we had to take one of the most expensive things in our country and make it a model for a world that would be different. So I didn't have to study medicine because things were easy for me in medical school. I studied healthcare delivery systems with the idea to create a hospital that would show that you could address every single problem of the way healthcare was delivered in one model. Not the answer, but simply a showing that we're doing our fantasy, what's yours? And so in 1971, when I graduated, we started the Gesundheit Institute. Nobody gave us a hospital. Surprise! So we either could wait until I got a foundation grant, which would be still, or we could do it with what we had. So 20 adults and our children, 3 of us physicians, moved into a large 6-bedroom house and said we were a hospital, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for all manner of medical problems from birth to death. Everyone was welcome. We wanted you to actually not think you had to be sick or have an appointment. In fact, our fantasy family would come and stay 2 or 3 days when they're well, so we'd create a sanctuary nature of the environment and try to find at least one playmate that lives there. And the idea was that people need time, that we need to form a relationship. So an initial relationship with an adult patient for me was 4 hours. And I'm really an intense person. I ask every question sensitive to life, to whatever you never wanted to talk to anybody about, I probably find out in those 4 hours. Because I know if I know everything about you, I'll make a more intelligent statement when you're asking me something in some way to be useful for you. Because I'm going to think it's all important because I've read all of Dickens twice. So I like complicated. And in spending that kind of time with patients, we found that 3% of the people I interviewed had self-esteem. Less than 5% had any idea what a day-to-day vitality for life was about. Yay, life! In fact, the normal adult didn't like themselves, didn't like their marriage, and didn't like their job, and that wasn't why they were coming to the doctor. And guess what? I didn't get a single lecture on any of those things. And so we also decided never to give psychiatric medicine, which explains the next 2 talks I'm giving at the fair, Living a Life of Joy and What is Your Love Strategy? So that's why we integrated medicine with performing arts and crafts and agriculture and nature, education, recreation, social service as a context to be a hospital, a place to, because the fantasy was no burnout, you know. My God, I can't believe I'm playing doctor here. I want more. That was a fantasy. And so we also realized that we wanted a staff whose qualities were happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. We'd prefer that they didn't have to use us as a place to learn those things, that they go, that's my tribe, happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. We needed it to be free for everybody, and we didn't want it to be free for poor people. We wanted to eliminate the idea of debt in the medical interaction because we feel that there's a great need in our world to reconnect with the we, that we are one people. If we were healthy, we would be together. So we wanted that you not think that you owed something no matter what we did, but that you belonged to something, and that something was something you could also nurture as a we. We never had anything to do with health insurance because we never heard anyone say anything nice about an insurance company. We never, and have been the only hospital to refuse to carry malpractice insurance because we needed the right to make a mistake. And instantly, even though it was against the law for all complementary medicine except chiropractic, we broke the law and allowed all practitioners of all the healing arts come and work with us, as long as they didn't charge money and let us watch. And in those days, they were a lot weirder than they are now, because my profession was calling it all quackery. It's a little different now. So we saw a lot of people. We saw 15,000 people. 3,000 had severe, profound mental health histories, and we never gave psychiatric medicine. My longest hug was 12 hours. It's very theatrical and fun. And so what we realized after doing this 12 years, never having anything resembling a private life, being constantly a house full of really neediness, human desperation for connection and friendship and life, that was pretty much round the clock for 12 years. And I realized I liked it, but that it wasn't a healthy thing for the whole team. And so we realized that for us to continue, we needed an actual design of something that we had 12 years to think about what we wanted it to look like. For example, a room for each staff person. Yay! And being the worst fundraiser in American history for such a nice project, because we've designed a hospital that eliminates 90% of the cost. Fully modern, technological hospital. And we wanted to get rid of hierarchy, since that's one of the global real concerns. The doctors are rude, arrogant pricks in every country, and bossy. And not all doctors, and if you're a doctor offended in the crowd, you might check yourself. But you certainly can't be in an American hospital and not see how hierarchy hurts it. So at our hospital, everyone makes the same salary, $300 a month. The cleaning person, the surgeon, all the full-time staff lives at the hospital as a communal eco-village, because nuclear family was a really stupid environmental decision. It's the largest environmental footprint that we can take 120 to 100 staff people and have them live on what would normally in West Virginia be a footprint for a nuclear family. And do it as a hospital and do it for free because of the communal eco-village nature and lowering the cost. So we closed our doors. We went public in 1984. We had refused publicity before that. We don't have a respect for the media. But we knew that that's what sells in America. So I knew I'd have to sell myself. And to the ultimate in absurdity, to have a movie with my name on it in my life, which shows you how low I would go in order to get this hospital. You know, to be in that world is not... I'm a servant. I can work tirelessly all the time in horrible human environments and love every second. And I've collected people who like that. They like being loving, and the more complicated, the more interesting. And so we closed our doors, and if we imagine that we studied healthcare for individuals and families in those 12 years, which is, you know, medical education is disease care, well actually disease business care, disease business medicine, let's call it. We've got to get the word care out of it. That selling what we're doing, it might interest you. I'm over 1,800 in foundation grants, okay? So that's how bad a record I have. And I only apply to foundations that say they want to help healthcare delivery. We get no education in the being well. We got no education in being a healthy family, and there were almost none. And no education in being unhealthy family, healthy community, unhealthy community, world, unhealthy world. That the environment was never once mentioned in my medical education. And so these last 29 years, we have been going all over the world trying to do something with the tiny amount of money we had. While I was raising money and then other people joined the fundraising team, we started our clown trips. We started in 1985 and did Russia as the only one for over 10 years, and then with the movie, the movie didn't bring me money, but brought me a very large speaker fees, and that made it possible not to build a hospital, because our hospital is a $50 million a year expense just to get it paid for. But I could talk and make $20,000, and that could pay for a clown trip to somewhere. So now we do 9 a year. We've gone into war 3 times in countless refugee camps and a number of countries. We do college spring break trips. We do trips where we combine with the School for Designing a Society that combines social change and clowning. If you just want raw clowning, we've taken ages 3 to 88. We don't require any experience. If you're wearing a clown costume, you become a grand master. Because the nice thing about clowning is everything is a character. So one of the characters is a person saying, they're going, oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. And so you try to juggle 3 balls, you never even catch one, and you stand there, the worst failure in history, and people are going, wow, they're really good. So you actually, if you love people and want an interesting vacation, it's a real fun time. And that got us involved in building some clinics in school and and being involved in taking aid, and basically spending the little amount of money that we made, because it couldn't build a hospital, trying to expand and understand. So visiting eco-villages all over the world and connecting up with peace projects and environmental projects, because all that seemed like the same job. Where I am now is that in the 41st year, last June, we started building. I reported it here, our first big building. We didn't finish, and I'm still the worst fundraiser in American history. If any of you can help me, we sure need help. But we are totally ready to deliver a 10% cost burnout-free hospital when we get enough money. So if you're wondering how to take it to your house, if you're from an area where there are 10,000 families geographically who are paying health insurance, they might be paying somewhere near $14,000. And if that's the case, and you took 10,000 of those families in the first year and said, why don't we build our own hospital, that's $140 million. And Patch goes, wow, I wonder how much Patch needs to build and endow his hospital debt-free, and it's endowed. Well, that would be $140 million. So a community of 10,000 families who are already paying that could have their debt-free hospital in their first decision to make themselves their insurance company. And then if they got together with 10 of those groups and then did the same $14,000, that's $1.4 billion, and that builds a referral hospital for those 10 small community hospitals. And then so in 2 years of the money you now throw away into an insurance company that doesn't like you, you have your primary and tertiary care facilities do. They don't have to do the things the ones do now. They can do that plus all the things and decisions you make for the 10,000 families or 100,000 families, and of course the people that live in those areas that can't afford it, that go to free, because you certainly want them cared for. Then what could happen if they put that $14,000 to themselves and had $140 million? What would they, maybe they would make slides in their community so that no one ever actually need to go in a car or even a bicycle. They just walk up some steps and slide over there. You know, you could do that across the country. You build a big tower on the East Coast, build a slide to the base of the Appalachians, then you build a big tower and then a slide to the base of the Rockies, and a big tower and a slide to the, so 3 slides cross country. You know, a little flair with the slides, maybe a loop-de-loop in Kansas. Okay. Okay, so now we can talk. You don't have to like anything I said. You can be in any way controversial if you want, or ask me any question. I have no privacy. I'm interested. Every single day on the phone and in the mail, I hear the bleeding heart of people who can't get care. Never a day goes by. I never get any break from it. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I were a wealthy person, I know that my money can't buy the kind of care we do at, say, Mayo Clinic or Johns Hopkins, so they may want to build it just for them family. Would obviously let them use it. West Virginia. But a person who could build our hospital, they can get to West Virginia. I would take money from Dick Cheney, okay, which is my symbolic, if you're going, how low would he go? That represents the symbolic low, okay? So I'm going to turn all money into Revolution for Loving. So if you know Dick, etc. Yes.
If everybody's going to be required to buy insurance, maybe you should sell it for the hospital. Can you repeat the question?
Actually, let them.
If everyone's going to be required to buy insurance, maybe you should figure out how to buy insurance to your hospital in different regions, because Obama's made that now clear. So maybe we could get you 10,000 families in all those regions.
Yeah, I would refuse to buy the insurance. You know, that it's not a good system. And if it actually goes into place, it'll be really hard to get a good system in because they'll think they covered it. And so I don't know how enthusiastic I want to be about a system that's not good, if you know what I'm saying. It's like, I know we don't have somebody necessarily that we're ready to use our nuclear weapons for, but I'd like them dismantled. You know, I'm not waiting so that we finally have someone current to point them to. Yes.
I do a lot of work with community self-determination.
Can you stand up and practice projecting? Or have me misinterpret?
I do a lot of work with community self-determinism and climate justice. And one thing that we talk a lot about is how to fuse the two. So in terms of community self-determinism, it's like filling basic needs, like communities providing basic needs for themselves, which is really interesting in what you were talking about in terms of like family hospitals that are like self-powered. A big issue with that comes up is like if like someone is struggling, like there are people who like just surviving is a revolutionary act. So if people are struggling to survive, how do you make climate justice part of that struggle? So people are aiming to like not only survive, but survive in a way that helps the world survive. And medicine is actually a huge problem for that because like most hospitals and most medicine are, the way they're produced is like super draining on the environment. And I was wondering if you could speak to that in some way.
Imagine doing that in 5 minutes. My library on the environment's about 2,000 books. Okay, I don't like to study something lightly. And so, actually nothing I study says we'll survive this century. That if we continue, and if I don't actually see a trend of it being different, I'm looking. I'm really optimistic and a bubbly guy because I don't think it's too late. So, the complexities of addressing climate change are vast. And how far and how fast can we possibly go to do it? I know, for example, if we built our hospital and we had 150 people living there, instead of them each needing a car, we could have 20 cars. Okay, so it's like when a person does 2 6-packs of Coke or beer a day and they cut back to 3. I'm celebrating the 3 and might shoot for none. So I think I've talked to audiences of 5,000 people and said, how many of you have read a book on global warming? And none have raised their hand. So let's just for fun, this is the Oregon Country Fair, so I know everyone's going to, don't fib, but raise a hand if you've read a book on global warming. Okay. I don't know of a book on global warming that shouldn't make you scared poopless, if they're minors here. So, you know, I'm speaking up here, I fly a lot, you know, I'm a 4 million miler. Mostly because I failed to build a hospital where I never want to leave. I want to work my butt off right beside the patients in our hospital. But I haven't found that magic, how to do that. And so I know where I'm contradicting myself in that world big time. I long for the world because, you know, a 3-masting ship can take us anywhere. We found that out and it did really good for getting people all over the world for a long time. It doesn't, and I think they could come back. I would actually like to get rid of the internal combustion now. I mean, I've read so many books on global warming, hear me say it, nothing I study gives me a sense we will not be extinct by the end of the century, or know that we will be. And I think it's because of looking at those things. And so I think spending one day not thinking about it proactively in change, not thinking about it going, oh my God, I'm going to die. That is the dumbest thing in the world to do when you have an idea that there's a problem. It's, how can I spend the rest of my life devoted to changing it? One of the reasons I'm 67, you know, I live on very little sleep. I work all the time. I have no bad days and haven't in my adult life because I work to try to change it. And that's, it's a, what about those slides, right? Who would slide across the country instead of taking the transatlantic? And imagine no roads, we just are sliding here, and you know, with a slide you don't have to destroy the land underneath, right? There's all those climbing vines on the, oh boy. So, you know, work for revolution. And in your age group, I can't imagine any young person not going, you know, killing themselves, which they're doing, or busting their butt to make this conversion. It's really, please, you know, I recommend actually 10 books on global warming, because this one will give you their twist and that one will give you their twist. You know, 3 or 4 books on water. Who knows, raise your hand if you know something about organochlorines. Raise your hand high so we can see. Okay, they spend $160 million a year so that people don't know anything about them. Imagine if you did something bad enough, you had to spend $160 million a year to prevent people from knowing about it. I mean, Edward spent a lot of money trying to get people not to know about it.
Who's Edward?
Somebody else? Comments or questions? You can be as nosy as you dare. Yes, ma'am. You know, if you're watching too much TV, if you're not on fire with your life, get involved in an issue. That there are models. Pam Weibel, are you presenting here? Okay, if you're in the medical profession, you want to just say a capsule summary of your magnificence.
Okay, yes, this will also answer the question that you had about, excuse me, what's your name? Genevieve, okay, about how to do things in a way that that would be respectful for the climate. So basically, I was a doctor on an assembly line working in Eugene, you know, just shooting people through in a really disrespectful way, because that's what most doctors are forced to work under. And I decided to just quit and maybe go back to waitressing, because I just wanted to be nice to people again. You know, I just didn't really, my patients aren't widgets and I'm not a robot, and I didn't really like my jobs, you know? And so I decided to have a town hall meeting in Lane County. I had 9 town hall meetings. I put the town in charge of designing their own clinic, and we opened 1 month later. So basically, I have a clinic that's designed completely by the community of people in Springfield and Eugene. I even went to Corvallis, and I got 100 pages of submitted testimony. I read it. What do they want? They want a doctor that loves them. I'm willing to do it. We open 1 month later. It's not rocket science. We've been open for like 7 years, and now I've trained doctors all over the country to do the same thing. How is this respectful to the climate? Well, when patients ride their bikes to my office, they get a gift. If people ride the bus, they get a gift. If they walk, if they skateboard, I honor people for using their feet and not internal combustion engines to get to the office. You know, I recycle their medical equipment. After I use plastic speculums, they take them home so they can examine themselves and get to know how their vagina works. And, you know, so I do surgery. I give them the scalpel. I give them everything to use for art supplies. I don't throw anything away except for just the needles that I use to inject, right? But I have a Sharps box that's only this tall, and I've been working for 7 years, and I haven't had to empty it yet. So I haven't really had any medical waste, basically, in all these years. So, and this is happening in Eugene, and it's happening all around the country. Why don't you know about it? The media doesn't report it, you know, but I have a book coming out that'll be really fun called Pet Goats and Pap Smears, 101 Medical Adventures to Open Your Heart and Mind, Chicken Soup for the Soul, for And my website, I'm Pamela Weibel, Weibel like Bible, W-I-B-L-E. My website is idealmedicalcare.org. And now there's 8 doctors in Eugene who are practicing this way. When I opened my clinic, I was the only one. If you don't think there's a revolution happening, it is happening, and the epicenter is in Eugene, and unfortunately the media hasn't reported it. So I'm totally happy to have anyone get in contact with me.
Yeah. Have I said how much fun revolution is? You know, if you're not blissed out, revolution. Okay, somebody else? I'm going to sing or recite poetry. Yeah, yes ma'am. Client. You know, I'm not sure I ever had a client. Are clients free? In free practices, are they called clients? You know, there's some things that are very clear that I'm a really healthy and fit old fart, okay? I'm 67. When I was 20, I thought I would be like rocking chair. That was kind of the impression in those days. Gold watch, golfing in Florida. You know, I've exercised all my adult life, yoga, weights, aerobics, and so I'm really fit. I also have no bad thoughts. When I was 18, I decided to live and be happy, and I know that I'm never in any way oppressed by bad thoughts. And I love life, and so every day is a working day for a better world. So those were important decisions. Get really intelligent about loving, okay? Because loving was thrown in that trash heap of feelings, and it's nice as feelings. It's also where most of the troubles come from. If you're good at loving, it's an intelligence. And try to not only explore it yourself, what it means, and we'll go over that on Sunday, about, so really, you know, imagine loving everybody and then actually go out and experimenting. And what that means, how to connect. This whole thing, the blue hair, the fork earring, tried 50 earrings. You know, the clothes. I want to make myself irresistible to start a conversation if you're standing next to me. It works in every country, you know, even if they're going, you know, I'm there, I speak that language. You know, look strange enough so people want to talk with you. So many barriers. Okay, I know you're inquiring, or you're too stoned, or because you know, raise your hand if you love the healthcare system of the United States, but you just love our system and it's taking care of everybody, and you know, it's really hurting people. Okay, it's really hurting people. It's on the TV. If your family has colon cancer, you need to get a colonoscopy, and the average cost in America for a colonoscopy is $3,400. There are $5,000 colonoscopies. You know, I'd pay you to look up your butt.
There's a doctor in Japan who did his own.
Yes, so, you know, we need to cover everybody. It's just, and you can use that. The nice thing about like putting your insurance money into a hospital is that those 10,000 families can get an idea. You know, we can tear up every other street and do community-supported agriculture. And before you know it, we're having car-free cities because of those slides, and who knows, and if we were creatively going places, there would be probably a walkway where you would leap and it would give so much that your next leap would be 20 feet, 30 feet. Yes, ma'am. Right, I'm agreeing. I hope.
It's a disease billing system.
Well, I mean, it's the consequences of market capitalism. I'm sorry. You know, the worst thing that ever happened in history, the cause of our extinction. Yes, sir.
Do you have chiropractors, naturopaths, or acupuncturists?
Yeah, we're gonna have all the straight ones and some awfully unusual ones. Yes, of course. I mean, where it's, you know, if you actually look from above and said, what is this, an artist colony? Is it a organic farm? Is it a playground? Wait, maybe it's a hospital. Yes, sir. One piece of advice for medical students, you know, love everybody. You know, clearly, not just love everybody, check. Okay, just for fun, reach out and grab the hands of the people next to you, even if you don't know them. Just like take a chance. Nothing kinky. Just. Okay. I mean, how is it? You know, what if Eugene was the first city where if you ever got near somebody, you just can you do that one-handed? Well, you know, ears. Well, let's press ears. Let's press ears. Okay. Yeah. That way you can still go. How is it that we're not all cuddly all the time? You know what I'm saying? But you just can't go up to somebody and know there's nothing but good gonna become from it. You know that. And so, and okay, and getting back to thinking I got off track to your question, that's your MD's privilege. They come to you naked on the first date. They will answer every question that you show a sincere interest in more than they'll show anyone else in their life on the first date. And you will slow it down because you will see just how much privilege you have to go into a person's life. You know, I visited every one of my patients' homes, and I never had to be like the Dr. Adams. You know, I was a goofy, weird, intimate, playful person that invited myself to dinner. You know, invite yourself to dinner. I recommend medical students to read Arthur Kleinman's The Illness Narratives and Eric Castle's The Nature of Suffering. I'm going to now be telling them to read Pam Weibel's book and to really get interested in healthcare and think about a doctor at all levels of society. What do you know about the education? You know, we study genitourinary, cardiovascular, respiratory systems, and we really need to study economic, social, environmental, educational, and the systems of our social life, and understand how is anybody depressed? You only need one friend. The way you know you have a friend, you can't be depressed. Okay? It's not friend check, what's their name? It's a presence of such domination in your head, you would not dare suffer because they're up there going, that's one opportunity for a friend. So I get really good at friend, you know, connecting with people, being really vulnerable, and realize you're entering a profession with a quality of intimacy and play and engagement. So everything that your patients know, if they know tango, learn tango. If they are collecting, you know, stuffed shrews, be sure to see their stuffed shrew collection. And go into their lives and fall in love with humanity. Okay, just for fun, can you look like, put your heads in each other's laps? Figure that out, okay? Can you just, you know, we're safe here, and if you're feeling freaked out, just raise your hand. But just now, as much as you can, kind of lean on people and really just lean, okay, and lean. Here, sir, can you lean over on this woman in the chair? Yeah, okay. Yes, just lean, okay? No, don't unlean. Stay lean, okay? I want to talk from lean, okay? Jan Cassius has a lean and hungry look. Okay. Between now and next year, have at least 10 stories for me how you were on an elevator and you leaned. you know, that you just, and you can, look, you've got a totally legal reason. You know that Dr. Patch Adams, the movie Robin Williams was in it? He said, I have an assignment, and you know what I'll win? I'll win a subscription, and if I do this, I'll win that, and I have to have 10 stars. Can I lean on you? And you know, after 100 to 200 leans, you find yourself really lean easy. Okay, it helps. Like if I look like this, it's easier to lean than if I had short hair and a gray suit and all of that. So, you know, what is your lean ability? Okay, just for fun, lean in a completely different direction. Okay, just try another direction of lean. Yeah, lean. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your strength. I'll help you carry on. Boy, it won't be long. Somebody lay down. Okay, truth serum, truth serum. Who is going to try 10 leans before next country fair? Honest to God, no lying. We're putting a lien on your lean if we catch you lying about leaning.
Consensual leaning.
Okay. I hear the consensual leaning thing, okay? Here's what I know about, I'm a leaner. I'm a professional leaner. I know leaning. You can make yourself into a person that would never be perceived as an invading leaner. Okay? So just, you know, you start with familiarity. You can even start with a, excuse me, I'm doing this, I'm a second-year sociology student, and we're doing a study on leaning cultures, and there was a, you know, you make up a country in South America. Americans don't know South America. And you talk about how that they need fewer psychotropic medications because, I mean, they don't call it leaning, you know, they... Who said, let's see, let's call them on it. They're going to lean 10 times, and not, you know, sorry, not family reunions, not Christmases, okay? We're talking, if it's not a stranger, it's not an official lean, okay? Okay. Okay, any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Okay, stop, quiet, let's hear. Can you stand up and yodel?
In your hospital, do you see indigenous plant medicine as part of your healing practice?
Indigenous, you know, one of my favorite, and if you're a medical person and you have not been to a Green Nations gathering, herbalists from all over the world really get together. I've been in the Iowa one where I think there were 1,700 at that Green Nations gathering. I mean, we have 310 acres in West Virginia where whole mountainsides are bluebells. And the Trillium is over here. That's almost an entire mountainside. So, yes, what? You know, I think in these early years, this country, we're going to have a lot of eyes on us. And so I think we would recommend where you can try ayahuasca. Okay, because we go to the Amazon in Peru every year, and a lot of people go there, work it with addicts and work in self-discovery. But I think at the actual hospital, it'll be people that want to close us down. And so we need to be more legal than might be our style. Because, I mean, it's easy for me to be shut down because I'm 67 on SSI and I actually never need to work again. But I want to work, and I want to work like a love slave in this hospital. So in those things we have to be, you know, until we're so loved in the county that you wouldn't dare step in that county to want to hurt that hospital. Yes? Next clown tour is in a couple of weeks. We have regular ones. Russia this is the 29th year. We go every November, 2 weeks, and that's 40 people. It's usually from the representatives' first 8 decades. This year, 12 countries. We go to Guatemala. Have been going to Guatemala 4 or 5 years every March. It started because our kids were in college. As the college spring break, it's kind of leaked over into being more than that. But that's an all clowning trip that I love to go on. There are like 3,000 clowns, friends that are Guatemalan. And an Italian member of our team, Ginevra, does Sicily every year, June into June, 1st of July. And that's, I've not gone on that because I'm at Wavy Gravy Circus Camp. The School for Designing a Society has had 2 trips. That's the clowning and education and social change. That's Costa Rica and Ecuador every year. And then we're going to start, right, thank you, Taylor, in December, first week in December. We've been to Cuba maybe 7 or 8 times. We'd like a regular Cuba trip. We really love Cuba. And so we're going to start one in the first week of December.
Peru in 4 weeks.
Peru in 4 weeks, right. Is it that long a time? I don't know if I can last. So, and then we were in Palestine for Artists Against the Wall last September. And we're on the cusp, I think, of doing a lot of regular invasion of Haiti, because the times we've been there have been very powerful, and we'd like to be more involved there.
China?
China, we've been several times. You know, the further they are away, the more expensive the trip ends up being, and a lot of people who want to come are busting their butt to get. So we do more Central and South America now than we'd like to. I mean, I'm apologize to say that Hollywood is writing a Patch Adams 2 because I have failed at fundraising unless you help me this week. And I need your help. Please, if you have access to funds, please help me. We are 42 years hovering. And it's really, we're so ready to do what you're hearing me describe. We know exactly how to do it. But were we funded, and Patch Adams 2 happens, we'd like to build medical schools all over Africa. And I have kind of a fantasy of organizing 10 million volunteers to re-green Africa and work at a grassroots level to really help. However, environmentally, we can help that country in ways that they would like us, more of a Paulo Freire way than us thinking we know what they want or how to do it. Yes? The use of computers in the healthcare industry. You know, I know there are certain aspects that can be really of great use. Records. The use of computers to help a doctor in Africa do surgery from a surgeon who's showing them on a computer in Boston. That kind of thing. You know, if you know me, I don't know how to use a computer. I don't know how to get to our website. I've not used a computer. I have not had a cell phone. And it's not that I'm against them. When they came in, I was already busy. And I didn't have anything I wanted to give up. So if you write me a letter, I write 400 to 600 longhand letters a month. I've done that for 40 years, and I'm caught up. So I answer all my mail. And I didn't want to give that up to answer email, because nothing about it has impressed me for me. And I'm on my 25th book about the dangers of the internet for the general health of the population, and especially our young people. So it's not exactly a magnet. I'm glad people in our community use computers, because to organize a clown trip and there are aspects, you know, it's not a bad thing. But how it's being used has a lot of concerns out there.
And the question is, when are we actually, you and I, actually going to do something?
I'm going to answer that without being insulted by the question. You know, I actually was ready to do the hospital I've been talking about 42 years ago. And I was so ready to do it. I did it with 20 adults in a 6-bedroom house with our children. We let 3,000 people with profound mental illness in our home unmedicated. They murdered my closest friend in medical school. And so we did that. You know, we did the hospital. I tried to get funding. I didn't get funding, so I could have just said, screw it. and gone worked in a free clinic, which is great for the person using a free clinic. It doesn't change anything. There are many free clinics. There are no models actually showing a direction of alternatives, and that's why I've stayed at our model. It is expensive, but I actually felt if I got a little clinic that I would be self-indulgent. I would play doctor, it'd be really easy. I wouldn't have to do anything. But I don't think we have that much time. And that's why I've stuck to the hospital idea. I think that, you know, one of the blessings of Pam and other people doing ideal medical practices and other experiments is other people are showing something else. We have stuck to our hospital because we know, I can imagine the camera of any news station in a close-up in a hospital that is 10% of the cost, where the surgeon is making $300 a month for a 50-hour week and having so much fun, it's hard to recognize them as a surgeon. That's going to make people very uncomfortable if they're discussing healthcare the way they did around this healthcare bill, which is garbage. It's garbage. I'm sorry, if it's better garbage, that's nice. There is more coverage. But I'm sitting here wondering if Roberts made that vote to use it as a way to help get Romney elected. Okay, so I don't trust market capitalism, and I don't trust people who can find an argument with huge piles of money not to care for everybody. I'm sorry, I don't even understand it. I can read about it and I can analyze it, but I don't actually understand anyone having a desire to hurt and not care for another human being. I'm sorry, I had that. I'm just trying to be my mother, okay? I never saw her mean, unkind, angry, nasty. You know, she is a school teacher that loved her two boys. My brother, by the way, he and his wife managed the building site of the hospital, so we're nepotistic. But yes, I want people off their butts too, okay? I do want, I mean, I hope you're hearing that. You know, if you're not, and yeah, you're Oregon Country Fair, so we can assume that we have as high an incidence as can possibly be in this country for people who want a better world. The biggest recommendation I can make, if you're not happy all of the time publicly, try it. If you can imagine that might make a healthier society, just decide to be disgustingly friendly and zippy everywhere you go, okay? And then practice going to places where you can't believe you're with those people, okay? And that you're falling in love with them. So go out, at least be proactive for friendly, and make models. I mean, I think we know that if our hospital were built and operating, there would be a huge domino effect. I'm sure communities would invite me and say, you know, that idea about the insurance, I think we're ready to try that. And they'll be able to come to our school for designing a society, which will be on the site and be there, not so much copying ours. It's so done to copy. Okay, that's why there are thousands of variety of orchid. One orchid's nice. 11 subspecies of giraffe. One would be good. How we doing? Yes. 2 minutes. That was in the form of a statement. Yes. Well, I'm taller.
Yeah, right.
And the tallness includes the head. And I'm here to promote thinking. Okay? I'm here to promote that an idea can actually drive your entire life. And I don't mean drive it, oh God, it's but
Give the website.
Give the website.
oh, right. Okay. I'm such a good fundraiser. Ladies and gentlemen, please go to our website. My address is there in Urbana, Illinois. I answer all my mail. I read the letter twice. I give it my best shot every time. If you would like to make a donation, you can go to our website, patchadams.org, and do PayPal, he says questioningly. Okay, PayPal. Remember, I don't know how to use one. You can write me a check. If you actually have connection with large amounts of money, please get in touch with me today. Okay, because my builders and architects are saying we don't have enough money to continue to build this summer. We'll wait till next summer, or someone will help us. I'm not desperate, but I am ready to work round the clock with people who want to work round the clock to play doctor and nurse and healer and be so disgustingly happy owning nothing that it's scary. Maybe a poem. Can we say goodbye with a poem? I love this poem by Marianne Moore. She must be good. She made a stamp after she died. I think you have to be dead for a stamp. This is her poem, What Are Years? What is our innocence? What is our guilt? All are naked. None is safe. And whence is courage? The unanswered question, the resolute doubt, dumbly calling, deftly listening, that in misfortune, even death, encourages others, and in its defeat, stirs the soul to be strong. He sees deep and is glad, who accedes to mortality, and in his imprisonment rises upon himself like a sea in a chasm, struggling to be free and unable to be. In its surrendering finds its continuing. So, he who strongly feels behaves. The very bird, grown taller as he sings, steals his form straight up. Though he is captive, his mighty singing says, satisfaction is a lowly thing. How pure a thing is joy. This is mortality. This is eternity. I think I have some of my books back here, if you'd like to purchase them. I'd like to thank Spoken Word, because I'm here because they like spoken words. Please like the word revolution. I am not theatrical about the level of my concern. You don't want to read all the stuff I'm reading.
Thank you, Patch Adams.